Hello Samai, croeso nôl, welcome back. In 1987, repair work to the base of the tower in Worcester Cathedral came to a sudden halt. The workmen had made a shocking discovery: the toes of two leather boots poking up out of the soil. Fortunately, this wasn't a contemporary crime scene. The boots were late medieval, and it turned out to be a grave from that period, which had some other interesting clues. A walking staff and a shell. It's the shell that gives it away, of course, the symbol of St. James and a universal Christian symbol of pilgrimage, worn by those who travelled from place to place, to the sacred, to the holy. I had the privilege yesterday of journeying with their modern equivalent, a group of 18 people making their way along the North Wales pilgrim route that starts in Holywell and ends up 12 days later at Aberdaron, within sight of Ynys Enlli, Bardsey Island, the sacred place and the destination for so many journeys. As I walked with them in the sunshine and the rain, those were my boots and they're still wet, I was just reminded of how beautiful each place is. The highlight for many was visiting our own church, Llangolynnin, as they made their way from Rowen to Abergyn-Gregin. But actually, every hillside, every quiet moment in the wind with the birds and the droplets of rain on the grass had a sacredness that pointed us to the Creator. When the archaeologists looked at the pilgrim's skeleton, they found that he was someone who had walked many miles in his life, presumably many pilgrimages. And indeed, one shoulder and arm showed that that was the one on which he leant on his staff along those long miles, walked seeking, walked finding something of God. The prophet Micah, thousands of years ago, said these famous words: "He has shown you, O mortal, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? But to do justice and to love mercy." Well, Christian or not, that makes sense, doesn't it? Surely we should be at the forefront of those who strive to include those who've been excluded, to fight for the rights of those who are victims of injustice, not to be fobbed off with lazy opinions like politically correct or woke, but to really care about the way the world is. And to love kindness, not to have to be forced to be fair to people, but to have a heart full of forgiveness and mercy. Well, even the worst of human beings manages that sometimes, but actually it's difficult to live in that way. So much in us seems to pull us in a different direction of selfishness, of indifference, of making excuses rather than really changing as we should. But of course, I cut off the prophet Micah early. He told us that what God requires of us is to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with our God. That's crucial, isn't it? It's only when we journey in step with God that we can really know his love for people, his anger at injustice, his desire that his kingdom should come and the world be set free from sin and death. I have no doubt that at the end of all his pilgrimage, when our nameless pilgrim was buried in Worcester Cathedral and then found himself in the presence of the living God, the one he met then was no stranger. They greeted each other as old friends because they had walked side by side, humbly together, many miles. Amen.